Hey there, this is Sarah from Ebb and Flow Yoga. I am here today with a gentle, stress relieving, restorative practice. You don't really need any props at all, but if you do want some for some added comfort, you can grab a bolster, a couple of blocks, and something to be seated on as well. You can also double up these to be seated on as well. Also, place your mat near a wall. We're going to be using the wall today as well. And then I also want to just reiterate, if you're uncomfortable in any of these poses, then go ahead and make adjustments. These are meant to be completely restorative. We practice restorative yoga to completely release tension in the body, alleviate any stress traveling through the mind. And so I'm going to invite you to find a mantra that you can recite. We'll be talking about the Hamsa mantra in just a moment. We'll start in Sukhasana or easy pose with that one. And then hopefully it's something that you can carry throughout the rest of your practice. So if you want to go ahead and find something to sit on, and we'll go ahead and get started. Also, one other thing, I've got my socks on, I've got a long sleeve shirt. Your temperature does drop when we practice restorative yoga, and so this is just your chance to stay nice and warm. I also have an additional blanket nearby in case I get cold. Remember that bolster, if you don't have it, can also be, you can use a couch cushion, pillows from your bed. You can use anything that is supportive to take the place of a block. So let's go ahead and get started. We're sitting in Sukhasana or easy pose. You can sit with one leg up on top if that's comfortable. You can place the feet just right in front of one another. And if any of these easy pose positions aren't comfortable for you, like make it more comfortable. Grab a bolster, sit up a little bit higher, place it underneath your knees, maybe put a block under your knees if you feel like your legs don't fall all the way down. And so we're gonna sit up nice and tall, take a couple of deep breaths. Since this is focused on being a stress relieving class, we're gonna start with our palms face down. So the idea with the palms face down as we lengthen the spine and take a few deep breaths is just to start to observe the breath. And once we observe the breath, it begins to shift and change all on its own. And so as we rest here with our hands on the knees, we're kind of grounding in, we're allowing the body to go inside and just feel the breath move in and out without paying any attention on how you might want to change it. And so as we observe it, it starts to shift, becomes a little bit more mindful. We're able to pay attention to that elongation of the inhale, the gentle pause at the top, the elongation on the exhale, pause at the bottom. And begin to also observe where in your body the breath is traveling. If you've been sitting at a computer all day and your shoulders are tight or your neck is tense, maybe you feel it there. Maybe you went for a long run or a bike ride and your hip flexors are feeling tight. See if you can breathe into those spaces that might need a little bit more awareness. So all we're doing is when the breath comes in, we're envisioning that breath spiraling in that place that it might need a little bit of attention. And feel the belly expand with each inhale. Feel the belly button come back to the spine with each exhale. So now the waistband is really tightening on the belly as you breathe in. Check in with the shoulders again, maybe shrug them up to the ears and roll them down the length of the spine. Pull the crown of the head up a little taller. And then pay attention if you feel yourself rocking forward on your seat a little bit. You can push back through the chin, lengthen up and lift through the crown of the head. So imagine if you were sitting against a wall right now, you would feel the back side of your booty pressing against the wall, the shoulder blades, and the back of the head. And Sukhasana gives us a chance to be still and mindful, pay attention to the breath, and we'll allow that natural mantra to just begin to enter with the hum and the sa. So as you inhale, hear the sound of that inhale as a hum. As you exhale, hear the sound of that breath as sa. Hum, hum, sa, and begin to slow it way down. And so we bring the mantra in to the beginning of our practice, the sound of the breath, so that it's something that we can always come back to if we feel our mind racing. It gives a point of attention and focus so that we can begin to relax the body, relax the mind, and have that focal point to let the mind reside at rather than wander. We'll go ahead and take one more big breath here in Sukhasana, or easy pose. And then when you're ready, you can flutter the eyes open. If they were already open, you can begin to shift your gaze. We're gonna move into a supported child's pose position. So I'm gonna go ahead and move my blanket that I was sitting on out of the way. If I just have that blanket, I can use that as a prop as well, or a rolled up towel. And from here, I've got two variations for this posture. So if you've got a bolster or a big pillow from your couch cushion, you can go ahead and straddle it so that the cushion is about halfway up the thighs, just on the inside of the knees. And you can go ahead and begin to drape the belly, the ribs, and the chest over it, turning that left ear towards the bolster and wrapping the arms around it, just relaxing everything. The elbows are heavy. If you're feeling like the upper back is pretty tight and you want to get another kind of a release, you can also take those blocks and you can go ahead and rest the forearms on them a little bit further away from the body and let the head fall here. So if you do have a little bit more flexibility and this feels comfortable for you, that's fine as well. If you notice any tension back behind the knees, grab hold of that blanket that you were just sitting on or that towel. We're gonna open it up a little bit and then roll it. And we can place it back just behind the knees where the calves and the hamstrings touch, and that kind of can help lift you up and prop you up. So two variations on that child's pose, Balasana. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one because my shoulders and my upper back are a little bit tight. And just take a few moments and see if you can really settle in. Maybe the knees need to widen a little bit more. If you can rest that third eye on the floor while you do this, you bring that awareness and attention into that space, and then you focus back on the breath, breathing that hum in and the sa out. So just allow the body to completely let go. Restorative yoga only works when we stop working. Hear the hum of the in-breath, the sa of the out-breath. And if your forearms are up on blocks like mine are, see if there's any tension still residing in the arms, all the way down into the tips of the fingers. If you're resting on the bolster, see if you can let a little bit more weight fall towards the earth and be held by that bolster just a little bit more. And if you've placed your left ear on the bolster, go ahead and slowly shift your right ear over to the side. And we just make simple observations about the breath, hearing it enter. See how long you can draw out that hum and how long you can let out that sa as if it were a deep sigh of relief. Those inner thighs are just cradling the belly, holding you, allowing everything to expand and contract effortlessly. If you're called to fidget, don't be afraid to move. It's better to be comfortable than to be focused on anything else.
And as the mind wanders, we go back to that hum and sa. Fill that space in between the breaths with a long pause. And so when we fold into ourselves like this, it's a very nourishing and nurturing experience for the body, alleviating that stress. It's a good way to wind down from your day. And we'll take a couple more breaths here, letting that belly really fill and expand. Notice if anything, begin to let go in the hips or the shoulders. Maybe just the thoughts are coming at you a little bit more slowly. And on your next inhale, you can push away from the bolster or blocks and find yourself resting on the knees. If you want to come up to all fours, that's totally fine. We're going to go ahead and cross those ankles behind us, send the legs forward. Now again, those props are going to come in really handy. You've either got your blocks, your couch cushion or bolster, or these blankets here. You can prop yourself up on that blanket, elevating the sit bones just a little bit to give that angle of the hips to the legs and open it up just a little bit more. You might also notice your body heat starting to really leave the body now that we've slowed down. We're going to take as few movements as possible and place either the blocks, a towel or blanket under the knees, something to help support the backs of the knees here. Moving into a variation of Paschimottanasana, that seated forward fold. Take a deep breath, inhale, sit up nice and tall. You can even reach the arms up high if you want. You're always welcome to keep those eyes closed here throughout a restorative practice. As you exhale, begin to gently fold forward. Don't be afraid to let the body round over the lower half of the body. Now, if this doesn't feel good to you, you can always make adjustments. You can always set your sit bones up a little bit higher. You can grab a little bit more cushion to help support the back of the knees, and maybe you just sit this high. But the goal is to take all the action out of the muscles. So if you can soften in and give it a little bit more of a yin situation where you just kind of let everything go. It's okay if the feet fall open. It's okay if the shoulders round forward. And we're gonna let the body completely curl into itself. If you've got a little bit more flexibility and you find your head down between the legs or kind of pressing into the bolster, you can take that block that you've got nearby and place the forehead on it. This gives you that ability to find that center, that third eye again, find that point of concentration, and then feel that hum and sa once again moving through the body with the breath. So we'll take a few moments here. Breathe space into the spine. Breathe length into the body. You can always move the hands or the feet or reposition yourself as needed. The goal is to completely let go and relax. Remember, as the mind wanders, hum, sa, in and out. Relax the toes, relax the fingers. Feel that gentle release and relaxation move up the limbs, into the arms and legs, into those sit bones and travel the length of the spine up and over the crown of the head to where you finally come over the third eye and then feel the jaw go slack just a little bit more. With the next exhale, see if you can fold into yourself just a little bit more deeply. Be completely at rest here. That space that we're looking for is between sleep and wake. And take 2 or 3 more breaths here. Let the back body really begin to open up. And then whenever you're ready, little by little, breath by breath and moment by moment, we're gonna curl up 1 vertebrae at a time, picking yourself up. You should feel a nice, gentle release. And we're gonna go ahead and get those props out of the way for us. I'm gonna move my bolster all the way off the side. I don't need that again. You may wanna keep your towel or your blanket around. We can place it next to the wall, but you may decide that you wanna just be flat on the floor. We're gonna move into a supine pigeon pose. And this is one of my favorite legs up the wall type of a pose. So you're gonna slowly move towards the wall. We're gonna get as close to the wall as we can with one hip, doesn't matter which one. And then we're gonna just gently lay down and roll up with the legs. We're gonna kind of scoot our booty in as close as is comfortable. And this blanket here helps me elevate my hips just enough that it really gives support to my low back. I have a little bit of low back pain, so it always feels really good for me. Sometimes you might just want those that booty straight on the floor, and that's fine too. But the closer you can get that bum to the wall, the better. You kind of have to do a little scoot, scoot, scoot. Now from here, we've got a couple of options for that supine pigeon. So I'm gonna lengthen my left leg up the wall and flex my right foot, cross it over for now. Now this may be and then we can sort of go ahead and relax everything. Arms are great out at cactus here or a T position. I prefer cactus right now. You can also take the arms up and overhead as long as you still feel the low back flattening into the earth and hollow that belly. So from here, if you're not feeling a stretch in this outer hip, we're not really going for a really deep stretch, but if you want to, you go ahead and begin to bend that knee that's up the wall. And you start to feel that glute and outer hip start to release. It should feel really good. Again, we're not trying to grip or hold on to anything. So if you notice any tightness or tension in that knee of the bent leg that's crossed over, we'll go ahead and back away from the posture because we want the body to just relax. You're still gonna get benefits here even if you don't feel the stretch, if you've decided to straighten that top leg. But if you've got a little bit more mobility and it feels good, you can bring that foot down as far as you want. Now we want to make sure that the tailbone stays down. So kind of play with that place where you feel the spine round up and away, and we're going to place it so that the tailbone is still on the floor. Spine doesn't curl, but we're completely relaxed here. Now, if you can relax with the hands resting here or one hand on the belly, that's fine too. I'm going to take my hands back out to that nice T position or cactus position. Close the eyes. If you've got an eye pillow, it's great to place it right over the eyes here. Take a couple of deep breaths. We're not here for too long. We're gonna switch sides in just a moment. This is just enough to feel a little restorative action in the body. We don't want a deep stretch. We just wanna simply be relaxed. And so once we find that hum and saw in the breath, things begin to let go and ungrip and untighten and unfurl. And then just as effortlessly as we came into the posture, you can even keep your eyes closed, straighten out that leg that's up the wall, Lengthen the right leg, cross the left leg over just as you did before, and then play with that variation of where you want that leg on the wall. Is it up? Is it down? Is it slightly bent? Do you feel that you can completely let go of the muscle tone here? Are you able to adjust anything just so to allow a little bit more rest and relaxation? Hum on the inhale, sa on the exhale. Hear it in the mind's eye with each and every breath to keep you focused on the breath. Feel rooted in the back body here and effortlessly holding this posture. You begin to feel the restorative benefits of the breath as you call it to that outer hip and glute, envisioning it spiral in that space, and then gently releasing again. Hum, sa. Go ahead and allow 1 or 2 more breaths to enter and exit the body. So take those full rounds. And now I invite you to keep the eyes closed for the rest of our practice. The legs are going to continue to utilize the wall here. But you can begin to straighten out that right leg. Send the left leg up to meet it for a moment. Flex and point the toes a couple of times. Get that blood flowing. And then we're going to go ahead and bend the knees so that the feet are a little bit more flat on the wall. It doesn't have to be all the way. And I'm going to take my arms all the way out to that T position here. And then slowly let the knees and the feet slide down the wall to the left, turning the head over that right shoulder. So this posture is just our reclined supine twist. And this pose just has a lot of great benefits for the spine. It starts to open the heart after all that closing and going inward in our restorative practice. This is a chance for everything to start to release and open up. So any of that stress that we kind of were allowing our bodies to kind of filter through, I like to think of it as wringing out the body and getting rid of it now. You could turn the head over that right shoulder, and the goal is to let everything go. There shouldn't be anything working. So the idea is that that right shoulder stays on the floor. So if you feel like you're having to work to push that right shoulder down, grab your block, grab your blanket, grab your bolster, whatever it is, and prop the knees up a little bit so that you're not twisted quite so much if you can't completely relax in this pose. The last thing I want to see when I'm in a yoga class, teaching a restorative class, is somebody sitting here kind of holding their body here because it's not comfortable to go all the way down. The idea is to find your comfort in each posture. Find that level of comfort somewhere in there. Hum. Sa. And you'll notice that each exhale draws that twist a little deeper. Feel a little bit more expansion throughout. And you feel the stress just leaving the body with each breath. One more big breath in this direction. And without having to use too much effort, we're going to slowly walk one leg and then the other back to center. Notice how the spine feels. Maybe straighten out the legs, flex and point the toes again, and then slowly slide the feet and the knees over to the right side, anchoring that left shoulder, and feeling everything twist and ring out in the opposite direction now. Everything grows heavy, but there's a lightness of being as you expand the heart open. Hum and sa. Let that mantra be a part of your meditation this week. Reminding you to always return back to the breath, that effortless sound that's always ever present. It's just a matter of paying attention, observing it, knowing it's there. Begin to slowly lose your surroundings. The sensations of the body even might begin to disappear as the breath remains. Check in and make sure there's not even a pinky that's working here. Everything is nice and relaxed. So if that meant that you used a prop to prop up those legs a little bit to help keep that left shoulder on the ground, that's fantastic. Just feel the gentle release. We're going to take 5 more breaths here. Full rounds of hum on the inhale, sa on the exhale. Maybe you even feel something come out the mouth. Relax the back body. Good. Last full round. Inhale. And exhale. Begin to slowly walk the feet one at a time up the wall. And we're going to end our practice here. Our Shavasana is going to be a legs up the wall posture. So feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. We're going to end our practice. Now, if you feel that your legs are working just a little too much here, what I like to do is bring them into Badakanasana. The knees fall open and wide. Palms can turn face up next to the hips or up and overhead, again, just depending on what you're going for here. We've relieved all that stress from the body, so now we're able to kind of open everything up and be ready for all the goodness. But I invite you to stay here for at least 10 full rounds of that hum sa meditation with the breath. So I invite you to close your eyes, place that eye pillow back if you've got it, and we'll end our practice here. Thank you so much. Namaste.